At around the same time, I came across the notion of content and process, a term used by therapists. Content is the thing that has happened. Process is the attempt to work out how to accommodate it. I thought about how content is the thing specific to us, our own story, but process is what we have in common. We are all just blundering through, trying to work out how to live in a world that doesn't behave the way we want it to. Could there be a way of sharing my process, of writing something with the specific purpose of consoling someone? Perhaps heartbreak is what happens on impact, and heartache is what we are left with as time passes, once the dust settles, when we are able to look up and around us but are still shrouded in sadness. What would have been useful for me to know as I navigated these states? If my first book was content, then perhaps my second would be process. I could spare the reader the agonies of the sad story, but hope that lessons from along the way might be useful to someone, no matter what their own situation might be. This is the book I wish I'd had when the worst happened, full of the advice I wish I'd been given. It's also the book I'd like to have beside me for whatever the future may hold. I wanted to pull all my thoughts together in one place, to have something to refer to when life took another twist, or started to look bleak around the edges. I'm not a doctor, a therapist, a philosopher, a priest, or an expert on anything. I'm just a human being who has thought a lot about how to be alive in this world. I don't want this to be difficult or sad. I poured the details of my anguish into my first book, but this is one that I hope you could safely give to someone without worrying about pushing them further into the abyss. There were times in my past when I didn't want to be alive. I thought my heart couldn't bear the pain of the world and might one day just refuse to beat. I don't feel like that now. My heart still aches, and I still pass through times of depression, but I have learnt how to manage it. I now know what to tell myself so that I can hold on. Even at my very worst, I still want to be alive. I just want to feel better. And there are lots of times when I experience joy beyond anything I thought possible. I'm sharing my way through. I think of this book as a verbal cuddle or a loving message in a bottle, tossed into the sea to wash up at the feet of someone in need. Take from it what you will. I hope that nothing I say is in any way irresponsible or unhelpful, and would encourage you to seek help from your GP, talk to someone you trust, or call the Samaritans on 116 123 if you are distressed, depressed, or otherwise concerned for your mental health. Please, if it doesn't resonate with you, then just put it down and read something else. I expect it to be chucked across the room a few times. A book, I can hear you say, in your anger and grief. What use could a book possibly be when my heart has been ripped out? I've thrown a few books across the room in my time. I've hated people who've tried to offer me hope, and I sullenly turned my nose up at lots of the advice I now offer here because I wasn't ready for it. But despite the throwing, I have always trusted and relied on books and found them a source of both wisdom and comfort. This is my far from perfect guide on how to be alive in this cruel but beautiful world. Something that always consoles me, that never fails to throw a chink of light into a dark day, is remembering that others have walked this path before me. I wrote this for myself, but also for you, so that even as your heart breaks and aches, and you can't imagine how you will ever feel better, you can know you are not alone. What's your story? Everyone has a backstory. From the moment of our birth, we are accumulating experiences, and those experiences will be many shades of light and dark as we learn the meaning of both joy and pain. Most people have a defining thing, sometimes a death or a loss, but not necessarily, that is a source of grief and often of guilt and shame. I didn't always know this. I used to think a talent for appearing okay and showing a false front to the world was specific to me. I'm glad I know now that I am far from alone in hiding my heartache from other people. Here are just a few stories that have been told to me by friends or by people who've come to speak to me at events or who've got in touch with me after reading my book. What these people have in common is that they all appear to be on top of things. You would look at them and envy the apparent ease with which they stroll through life.